A long-time trespasser may gain ownership of land by using it with no documented challenge for 21 years. Landowners can avoid this threat with some good basic practices. Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we are going to discuss adverse possession. A claim of adverse possession gives a trespasser legal title to property if they can prove actual, continuous, exclusive, visible, notorious, distinct, and hostile possession of property for, in most cases, 21 years. One motivating factor behind the continued legality of adverse possession is that it ensures land does not lay dormant. It incentivizes property owners to timely assert their ownership rights and, if they fail to do so, allocates real property to those who put it to use. Land, buildings, and even rooms within buildings can be obtained through adverse possession. Property owned by the federal and state government is immune to adverse possession, but property owned by political subdivisions is not, unless the land is devoted to public use, or held in furtherance of a governmental function. For a trespasser to successfully claim adverse possession, they must prove their possession of the property was actual, continuous, exclusive, visible, notorious, distinct, and hostile. Actual possession varies according to the circumstances, but essentially the trespasser must treat the land as if it were their own in a way that is consistent with the nature of the property. For example, actual possession may be established by cultivating the land, making improvements, maintaining a fenced-in lawn, doing yard work, planting and tending to a garden, building a shed, paying property taxes, or other activities signaling to a reasonable onlooker that the land is being treated by the trespasser as his or her own. Exclusive possession means that possession should be characteristic of a true owner's use to the general exclusion of others. The trespasser cannot share possession with the true owner or third parties. Essentially, actual, visible, notorious and exclusive possession must be exercised in plain sight in a way that is obvious enough to put a reasonable person on notice their land is being actually possessed and giving them an opportunity to assert their property rights. Possession must be continuous and uninterrupted for 21 years, except for adverse possession of a single-family home on less than 1/2 acre where possession need only be continuous and uninterrupted for 10 years. In all cases, however, possession must be more than sporadic or occasional, but rather consistent with how the record owner, meaning the true owner whose name appears on the recorded deed to the property, would use the property. For example, if the property was a summer cabin, continuous possession would be achieved by using the cabin every summer for the statutory period without interruption by the true owner. Continuous possession can be supported by testimony from neighbors or other third parties witnessing the possession. Possession that is hostile and adverse to the true owner's title does not mean ill will, but rather an intent to defend the use of the property against the record owner. This may be evidenced by actual, visible, notorious and exclusive possession. If the record owner gives consent, then the possession is not hostile and adverse. For example, a tenant cannot adversely possess rented property against the landlord, because the tenant has permission to occupy the premises. Intent is assessed by looking at the nature of the possession itself, and evaluating whether it is enough to put the true owner on notice. The state of mind of the trespasser is irrelevant. The adverse possessor's interactions with the property should appear to a reasonable onlooker as if they are the true owners. Generally, if all the other elements of adverse possession are met, hostility, in the legal sense of the word, is implied. Title acquired by adverse possession is not an automatic right, but requires court approval to legally transfer a property right. The burden of proof is on the trespasser to prove they meet the elements of adverse possession by clear and convincing evidence. To initiate a case, an adverse possessor must commence an action to quiet title and provide notice of the action to the record owner. The action to quiet title must be filed in the county in which the disputed property is located in the Court of Common Pleas. To dispute the claim, the record owner must file a timely answer and will have 1 year to respond to the notice with an action in ejectment. The action to quiet title compels the record owner to file an action in ejectment if the plaintiff is in actual possession of the property and there is a dispute as to the title. If the record owner prevails in their action in ejectment, the quiet title action filed by the adverse possessor will be thrown out. If the record owners do not file and serve an action in ejectment within 1 year of the action to quiet title, then the title of the property will likely be granted to the adverse possessor. To avoid adverse possession claims, record owners should consult a professionally prepared survey to identify boundary lines and regularly check for encroachments on the land. Indications of occupation to watch out for include but are not limited to driveways, sheds, or other structures they did not build, gardens they did not plant, compost piles they did not heap, and landscaped or mowed areas they did not manicure. If a record owner thinks an adverse possession claim is a possibility, it is important to confront the trespasser and develop evidence showing the elements of adverse possession were not met. There was an interruption to the trespasser's continuous possession. This might include time-stamped photos of posted no trespassing signs, written correspondence with the trespasser, texts, emails, and letters, granting permission to the trespasser to use the disputed land for an agreed-upon length of time, or time-stamped photos showing actual possession by building a fence along boundary lines. Understand your property boundaries, regularly monitor the property and assert your property rights to avoid encroachment. Helping people provide a solid foundation for a more secure financial future. One video at a time. We appreciate you tuning in and hope to see you again soon. Hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to click on one of our other videos. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and do hit the bell icon on your way out. See you all next time on Top 5 Hive.